Hi everybody. Today we're going to learn the sixth unit prose, The Accidental Tourist. The Accidental Tourist. And it's written by Bill Bryson. Okay, the author is Bill Bryson. Okay, there are some warm up given. Listen. Often on formal occasions we admire friends and strangers who appear elegant. Okay, let me tell this to you. See, in formal occasions like a big party or marriages, wedding, something like that, some people you can just make note of them. They move in an elegant way, very pleasing, very decent. They can converse very modestly, they conduct themselves very elegantly. There are times and there are people like that. But some people, they do not know how to conduct themselves. Whatever they try to do, that ends up awkward, or they become nervous and they are doubtful about what to be done as their next move. You might also have experienced something like that, right? When you just drop your pen for ink, if it's not writing properly, sometimes it might fall on other students notebook or something, which will leave you in an embarrassing situation. You might think, no, whatever I do, some students at home, when you're asked to bring something, you just take it but you drop, and that also ends up in an embarrassing situation. So this author also has the same problem here. This story is an amusing story, and he has come across some frustrating moments in his life. But he was a globetrotter. Globetrotter is a person who just moves around the world, and many times as he does that, he faces chaos. Chaos is nothing but confusion in his everyday life. Okay, let's start the lesson. Of all the things I'm not very good at, living in the real world is perhaps the most outstanding. So, many things are there, many people do it very good, but in the real world, in my life, the author says like that, in his life, he doesn't know how to do things good in the real life. He says, I'm constantly filled with wonder at the number of things that other people do without any evident difficulty that are pretty much beyond me. And is wondering about something. What is that? Number of things other people do without any difficulty. But for him, it was a great difficulty, or it was great difficulty to perform that. If a person carries a bottle full of water with ease, but our author is not able to do so. So that is what he's wondering at. Okay, you understand? Okay, I cannot tell you the number of times that I've gone looking for the lavatory in a cinema, for instance, and ended up standing in an alley on the wrong side of a self-locking door. Okay. See, here he brings incident after incident, or incidents after incidents. The first incident, he in a cinema theater is going in search of a lavatory restroom. Okay, so he has to pass by the alley. Alley is a narrow passage. What is alley? Alley is a narrow passage. There, somehow or other, he was in the wrong side of a self-locking door. He must have been outside, but he is in the wrong side and the door locks from outside. He is not able to open the door. Many times this happens in his life. He knows it, but he gets into this confusion. That's the first incident. The second incident is, my particular specialty now is returning to hotel desks. What for? How many times? 2 or 3 times a day, asking what my room number is. I am, in short, easily confused. My dear students, he brings the second incident. What is the second incident? He goes to uh, a hotel reception room where he stays, and he keeps on asking his room number because he gets confused. He might have gone to another number, another room, but he wants to make sure what his room number is. So he goes on asking twice or thrice in a day. That's the second incident that he brings out. Okay, then I was thinking about this the last time we went informing on a big trip. It was at Easter. We were flying to England for a week. When we arrived at Logan Airport in Boston, were checking in, I suddenly remembered that I had recently joined British Airways frequent flyer program. I also remember that I had put the card in the carry-on bag that was hanging around my neck, and here's where the trouble started. Okay, he tells the next thing that had happened. What is that? Last time when he went as a family, en famille means it's a French phrase which means as a family, on a big trip where they are going to England. They're flying to England. They were flying to England. That was during Easter, and the trip was for a week. And when they reached Logan Airport in Boston and they were about to check in, that's when he suddenly remembered that he had recently joined a privileged candidate or flyer. Why? Because he travels a lot. Because I've told you that he was a globe trotter. No, he travels around the world. So he was given a card, privilege card, that he is a member of frequent flyer program. So he got remembered that the card is in his bag and the bag is hanging around his neck. But he ends up saying, and here's where the trouble started. So there was a trouble. What's the trouble? Let's see. The zip on the bag was jammed. The trouble was because his card was in the bag and the zip on the bag was jammed. Have you experienced that? Sometimes when we open the zip of the bag, it doesn't come quickly. It gets jammed there. Yes? So here's the same problem. The zip on the bag was jammed. So I pulled on it and yanked at it with grunts and frowns and increasing consternation. I kept this up for some minutes, but it wouldn't budge. So I pulled up for some minutes, but it wouldn't budge. So I pulled harder with more grunts. Well, you can guess what happened. Abruptly, the zip gave away, or the zip gave way. Okay, my dear students, he was yonking. What's the meaning of yonking, you know? Yonking is pulling with a jerk, pushed very hard. Grunts means groan, something like that. Making noise when you do something very hard, and frowns, keep your face in a different angle and with increased worry because he has to take the card out. But he was doing it for some time, and finally the zip gave way. But what happened? Abruptly, the zip gave way. The side of the bag flew open and everything within. What are the things that were within? Newspaper cuttings, one, loose papers, 14-ounce tin of pipe tobacco, magazines, passport, English money, film was extravagantly ejected over an area about the size of a tennis court. So all those things that were there in the bag came out excessively. It was flying